My number's not up there. I want 5. When I have more fun,
Are there any new umpires here that have never been to a clinic before, besides John?
Obviously, it's
Yeah. You guys don't have any rule books, right? Hey, catch. That was a good throw. Here's another one. These are 14. Nothing's changed between 14 and 15 other than stupid video rules. That if you got the information from Lance, you should already know it.
We got a minute 30 left. Try to come up with something really decent. You know, I thought about doing that.
They gave you credit for it.
And we're down to 60 seconds.
How's it looking now? Some decisions you make without even knowing.
And ready to go.
Here we go.
All right. So real quick, welcome to 2015. Although if I'm saying welcome, and this is the first baseball thing that you've done this year, you're behind the 8 ball. We had a great series of sessions over at MCC. Really, really productive. Everybody that was involved, I hope you got something out of it. Would that be true to say, everybody that came to one of those? Who came? Who came? Who came to at least one? Who came to at least two? Keep them up. Who came to at least three? Who came to at least 4? 5, 6, 7. You're lying. They're only 6. So Milk and Joe, you win absolutely nothing, but you're ready already for this season.
There's a tissue to wipe their nose.
So we're going to go over these real quick. This timer is running because when it goes off, we're done talking about rules. I am living proof that you do not have to know the rules in order to be a great umpire, or a good umpire at least. I'll be the last one to tell you that I know the rules. I don't, but I can umpire and I can handle situations. So take that for what it's worth. Number 1, team jerseys must be numbered on the front and back. That is false. They've got to be on the back. Number 2, lineups become official when they're exchanged, verified, and accepted by the umpire during pregame conference. So your pregame conference should take literally no more than 90 seconds. All right? You're at the plate, you get your card, I like to go down. I count positions. So you know how they number the positions, 1 for the pitcher, 2 for the catcher, right? So I like to count them. Start at 1, go to 9. Find a deviation there. All right? Make sure everybody has it. Make sure that both teams have the proper number of people. You give the managers their opponent's card. You go over ground rules and you're done. Okay? Any questions about that? Also, once you have the cards and you've approved the cards, you now have a ball game. So you're in control. So you get the cards and the sky opens up and it pours. Who's in control of whether you bang the game or not? The umpire is. Okay? Number 3 and 4 go together, so we use them as such. At the time of the pitch, following fielders must be on fair ground, all of them but the catcher. So that's B. And a fielder is considered to be in fair ground when he has at least 1 foot touching fair ground. All right? So here's the question. Who has ever had to enforce anything with this? You have, you're not doing your job properly. Because at the time of the pitch, if you're looking at the first baseman to make sure he is in fair territory, you're about to get killed by a line drive up the middle. Or you're not tracking the pitch. So what's the penalty? Who cares? You'll never see it. Oh, he's in foul territory. All right, when I see it, I'll call it. Right? Okay. 5, neither team's players shall warm up in the other team's on-deck circle. True. Show of hands. Who thinks this is a big deal? Yeah, huge deal. Absolutely huge deal. If you've got Team A warming up in Team B's on-deck circle because they've got a lefty and they can see it better, or the batter is a lefty and he can see it better, what's the penalty from a baseball perspective for doing something like that? Ear hole. Right? We want to prevent that. So keep them on their own side. 6, if the media area is to be used. Number 7, to start the game, the umpire shall be provided a minimum of 3 baseballs. Okay? C is the correct answer. You should get a minimum of 6. Now, they won't all be new. Right? They'll give you one for the pitcher, 1 for our pitcher, and 1 for you. Great. Get the best practice balls you can find, because one thing we're going to be talking about this year is how to speed up your game. Biggest problem I observed from the games I worked and the games that I watched last year was between innings we are taking too long. All right? And our games are running too long. Who in here gets paid by the hour? Well, maybe in your real life, but I know that's not true for you. Nobody does. So if we get our games done half an hour quicker, we're all going to make more money. We're going to make more money faster. Not that we're here for the money, but hell with it. I'm here for the money. Right? We all get paid for this. So we might as well get paid the most expedient fashion possible. The more baseballs you have in your bag, the faster your game will go, because you are not going to be waiting for people to chase down foul balls and throw it in. If you know you're in a field that has a creek back behind home plate, you might want to get 12 baseballs. All right? Game management. Just keep things moving. And let's get everybody on the same page so that every coach is used to the fact that they're going to give you practice baseballs. All right? And use them. Speed your game up. We'll talk about that more in a couple weeks. 8. Bat has been altered or the faces ball is an illegal bat. Yes, it is. Bats that become broken, cracked, or dented during the course of the play shall be removed, and there is no penalty. All right, so he hits a bat, the end cap. Most common one is the end cap, right? They hit one off the end of the bat, and off pops the end cap. Well, they're not using that bat anymore. Did anyone do anything illegal? No. Are you going to check it for cork? Probably not. It'll be metal. Right, that was 9. 10. Bats that are not made of a single piece of wood shall meet BB Corp performance standards. So we're all going to bring like chronographs and testing equipment and lasers to test that, right? Right, yeah? How are we going to make sure that they conform? How are we gonna? No, bullshit. You're just gonna see, if the question comes up, you'll look for the little label. If the question doesn't come up, who cares? Let's spend our time elsewhere. Gloves and mitts that conform to height lead, all but the catcher. And depending on the circumstances of the play, if loose equipment interferes with the play, the umpire may do any of the above. Okay? So if there's loose equipment hanging around, this should never happen. Why should this never happen? Everyone should be tucked in. Whose job is it to make sure that there aren't loose bats laying around the field? Every umpire. Okay, so if you've got people, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. This almost led to ejection in a summer game for me this past year. Okay, we have people putting helmets and mitts on top of the fence, right? Okay? Well, who cares? It's summer. It's not a big deal. It's on top of the fence. But what happens when it hits it? Well, now we got a problem. Okay? So take care of that stuff early. So be aware. When you put the ball in the play, hey, take a quick glance. Hey, there's some stuff. Hey, coach, hey, catcher, tell your guy over there to clean up that mess. All right? It will save you problems later down the road. All right, we got 3 minutes for questions, so I'll take 3 questions. Any questions? No questions? Yeah.
Speaking of the bats, so are old BESR bats still allowed?
No.
They're not allowed at all?
Nope. That's been several years.
Why doesn't it keep them floating around?
Yeah. No. Anything else? And like I said, are you going to go inspect every bat? Only if you're a time waster. Liar. Anybody else? All right, moving on. Today, our goal today is to talk about two-man. Who in this room is a person with 0 baseball game experience? 0 experience.
Chase.
Really?
Chase.
1 year of baseball umpiring game experience. 2 years. 3 years. 3 years or more. All right, good. We read the emails. So this is our goal for today's class is to be very basics of the two-man system. All right. Now I'm glad that we have some of our more experienced guys here because we all need to improve at two-man. Everybody, I need to improve at two-man. Okay. Everybody in the room needs to improve. So it's great that we have so many experienced guys here. But this is going to be working at the basic level. The where do I need to be? Next class on Monday, right?
Yes.
We're going to go into some advanced two-man stuff. So older guys, be here. Younger guys, if you're here, also great. Okay? So, two-man. I think one of the biggest things that from evaluations and the officers that I've spoken to, our two-man stuff needs some major improvement. Being in the places where we need to be for the plays that we need to be there for. All right? So that's why we're putting a big emphasis. 3 out of our 5 classroom sessions are going to be based on two-man. And this is how we get to be better umpires. All right? This is our nuts and bolts. This is what we do every day. Okay? So, we'll go through it. All right, so guiding principles. There are 3 reads that you're going to make on every play. 3 reads. You're going to be reading the ball, primarily. You're going to be reading the defense. and you're going to be reading your partner. And you got to know where all three of these things are at all times. All right? You're going to be reading the ball, the defense, and the partner. We will always watch the ball and glance at runners. All right? When we're talking about pause, read, react, that changes a little bit. But if the ball's rattling around, it's rolling around in the outfield, you got a guy who's it goes down the corner, down the line. You got a guy who's going around for a triple, maybe an inside the park home run with play to play. We're always watching the ball and glancing at the runners. All right? Especially when do we need to glance at the runners? When they're touching the what? When they're touching the bases. So we need to develop a little spidey sense so we know about when our runners are getting to the bases. We also probably want to be looking at the runners when they may or may not be touching the defensive players, because that's going to be an issue for us. It's either going to be obstruction or interference, right? So we have our eye, what's it say in the pro rule book? It says you will have your eye everlastingly on the ball. Well, you won't. You'll be glancing at runners. But primary responsibility is what? The ball. Great. Okay. Your base umpires, you will be expected to go out when there is nobody on and you have a trouble ball. Okay? There are 5 ways that we define a trouble ball. They are all based on what the defender does. So your defender's running hard in, running hard back, running hard to a foul line, or running hard toward another fielder. Okay? That's how you define a trouble ball. You define the ball by what the defender is doing to go get it. Okay? And both umpires are going to have fly ball responsibility depending on the scenario. Questions about our guiding principles? Who, as a base umpire, never went out on a fly ball this year? Who, as a base umpire, did go out on a fly ball? Good. So, see, not lying. Who, as a plate umpire, ever called a catch, no catch? Raise your hand. All of you should have. Okay? Who, as a plate umpire, called a catch, no catch that your partner should have? Absolutely. Who, as a base umpire, went out on a can of corn or a clean single? Okay. If your hand's not up, you're lying. You're lying. It happens. If it didn't happen, it happened. It happens to everyone. It's okay. But the thing that we have to do is realize when it happens and then realize why it happens and then fix it. Question in the back? Okay. All right. Signals. Keep it really simple. And I'm not talking about saves and outs here. Who are we signaling to on prior to every play? Partner. Are there any plays where you shouldn't signal what you're doing? Never. Every single play, prior to every single play, you've got to signal what you're going to do. There is one signal that we're going to hold a funeral for today. All right? And it's this one. What's this mean? Bullshit, travel. This is a travel. Okay? We don't, no. Nobody in this room, myself included, is good enough at 2-man to say, we're just doing the same thing. Signal it. Signal what you're doing. If on the last play you were going to rotate, if on the last play you rotated, and on this play your guy struck out, and you're going to rotate again, guess what? Rotate again. Alright? So really simple, set your signals. Point to where you're going to be going. Point to where you're going to be going. So as a plate umpire, if you're going to rotate to third, you're going to point at third. Okay? If as a base umpire, you're going to be taking the plate back the other way because your partner's rotating, you're going back to first. Okay? If you are going to have a tag up, this is your signal. Alright? So if I've got third, if he tags, and then going third, I'm pointing over there. Okay? Staying home, so where would a plate umpire point if he's staying home? It's a home, right? Okay? And then if the plate umpire's staying home, what's the base umpire doing? What's the base umpires have responsibility for? Plate guy stays home. Everything else. Right. Infield fly. Okay, up here. If you have first and second and less than 2 outs, do you have an infield fly situation? Yes. We're going to get to it, but you also have a coverage situation. So pretty much with first and second, you're going to give infield fly. I'm at 30 feet tags. This is just okay. Guys I work with at the upper levels, they get rid of this. They just do this. Okay, we're not there. Here. Okay. Any questions about signals? How often should you be signaling? In the middle of every play, after the ball's pitched. Before every play. Okay. One of the things we're going to give you today is kind of a mental checklist. That wherever you have your runners, you should be running through this mental checklist of what you've got. And part of that mental checklist is what you're going to signal. So I know if I've got a runner at first, I'm going to rotate every time. So runner at first, I'm thinking, okay, this, rotation is what I'm signaling. Okay? Should see it every pitch. Question, every play. Question. Anything?
Yeah.
Yep, go.
First and second, 1 out. You point up. But at the top of between pitcher and third, they're both running in swing.
We'll talk about how to umpire an infield fly in a different class. Starting positions with nobody on. Okay, with nobody on. Our plate umpire, big surprise, is behind the plate. Our base umpire is here in the 8 position. You should be 18 feet or so behind, 15 to 18 feet behind the first baseman. The first baseman is playing very, very deep. You'll probably want to cut down your distance. If your first baseman is playing shallow, you will want to maybe increase that distance. All right? But you need distance from the first baseman, because what happens when the first baseman dives like this? You don't want to be in the way. So get yourself some depth. We call it the 8 position. When the umpire's in the 8 position, this is what our fair foul coverage. We got seats up here, bud. Plate umpire has everything down the third baseline, from the plate to the fence. Got everything that way. We're going to draw a line. I put it to the back corner. It looks like the back corner there, but we're going to draw a line at the front corner of first base. Okay? Plate umpire has everything up to that line. Base umpire has everything beyond the bag. So imagine it like a plane of glass. You've got a plane of glass going right here down the front of first base. If the ball breaks the glass, who's got the fair foul call? Base umpire. If the ball does not touch the glass, who has the fair foul? Plate. Under what circumstances will you have 2 guys calling fair foul at first base? Never. Okay? If you're not sure, it was probably the base umpires. Okay? How do you make sure that you avoid one of these? How do you avoid it? 2 ways. Great. Say that again.
Know your role.
And what's the other half of know your role? Who's the Steve Austin fan? Come on.
Shut your mouth.
Thank you. So, as a base umpire, I'm going to go, hey, that was close. Huh? Oh, good. He's not doing anything. Foul. Okay? Got it? Eye contact. Yeah.
That was the Rock.
Someone give that man a ticket. Okay, so with nobody on, yeah.
There's like a hard ground ball. The ball hits in the infield, goes over the bag.
Did it break the glass? You got to pay the glass here. It hits here. Does it break the glass? Whose call is it? It breaks the glass. It's the base umpire. Okay? So for it to be the plate umpire, it needs to stop short of the glass.
So even though the home plate umpire might have a better angle as to whether it crossed a bag or not and it's fair or foul.
Why is it a better angle? You both have the same exact angle. You're both straddling that line, right? So you don't have a better angle. If it breaks the glass, it's the great. Anything else? What am I thinking? As an evaluator, this is a phrase that I use a lot, except I changed the pronoun. What are they thinking? Okay? What am I thinking? So nobody on. This is your checklist, your mental checklist. What should you be prepared for? Let's think about it. You got nobody on. What's the likely scenario to happen?
Trouble ball.
Trouble ball. What else? Base hit. Fair foul. Check swing. Nice.
First base.
Play at first base. Just a regular old ground ball. So you're both your big hitters. A ground ball in the infield. All right? If you think you can ground ball in the infield, you might have to go out. You might have to come in and pivot. That's what we do when there is a clean base hit through the outfield, into the outfield, right? We come in and we pivot. Pivot is a series of footsteps that you will learn that will make it easy for you to see the ball, get to second base ahead of the runner, and see if the runner touches first base or not, and to see if there's interference or obstruction going around. Okay? It's like the most basic play, but there's a ton of umpiring that you have to do. A ton of it. And the one time you get lazy and you don't pivot, you don't put your head where it needs to be, well, that's when you're going to turn around and you've got a runner and a first baseman on the ground and you're wondering how they got there. Right? Who's ever had that feeling? It's not a good one. Okay? Pivot's also a great way to avoid embarrassing yourself by falling on your ass. Who has fallen on their ass? If your hand's not up, you haven't umpired enough, or you're lying. Okay? Fast story. I fell on my ass on the first play of the game where the night before, in front of 8,000 people, I wiped runs off the board. Okay? On a time play. And called a pole bender foul to win the game. First play. Pivot, fall my ass. Sucks.
Standing over.
It's not, oh, goodness. Because you know what? The 8,000 people in the stands that day were the same 8,000 assholes that were in the stands last night. Sorry. I can't, when I start talking baseball, I can't help myself with language, so anybody that has PG 13 years, apologies. Talk to Frank. All right. Ground ball, going out, pivot. Those are your three thoughts. Everything else everyone said, good. Do we need to be aware of check swings? Yeah. Are we going to get check swings on a left-handed batter where his back is facing us? Yeah. Because there's only two of you. Does it suck? Yep. You have to do it? Yep. If anybody complains, dump them and tell them that you need the third guy. Same thing, if anybody complains about a check swing and you're in the middle, how can you see that? I can't really. Yep. Alright, so the ball is hit. What's the right thing to do? Right away when the ball's hit, what do you gotta do? Pause. Wait. Pause. So many times I see guys that the ball's hit, no, I gotta do something. Nope. Take a second. Okay? The pause, that's why we get ourselves into shape pre-season, right? So we can take that pause and still get to where we need to be when we need to be there. All right? Pause. Make sure of what's going on. Then you read. And what are the two things, or the three different things we need to read? The ball first, the fielder, and partner. Okay? And then react. Depending on where the ball goes, depending on where what the defense does, and what my partner does, I need to go somewhere. Where do you have to go? Well, that's what we're going to talk about the rest of today. Okay? You have more time than you think you do. You have more time than you think you do. So take the opportunity to pause and read. Okay? If we react too soon, we're going to react wrong. We're going to be in the wrong spot. Okay? And there's nothing worse than being here when you're going to be here. Okay? Nothing worse than that, except maybe falling. That could be worse. Okay? But when you're here, no, what? Falling isn't worse. Because fall, what are you going to, hey, I fell, sorry. What do you want? You still sick. But you fell, yeah? Did I mean to? I didn't mean to. Okay? So, if you react too slow and you're like, oh, just, that's one way to get out of trouble. Oh crap, I'm supposed to go. Ladies first, this is how we're going to take them. Folks that were at MCC, this should be really familiar. Okay? When you're taking a play at first, which is the bigger sin? To be too close or to be too far away? Who says too close? Who says too far away? Okay? On a ground ball to first, we call it the angle distance play. The most difficult thing to overcome is being too close. Who's ever had a play blow up on them? Where all of a sudden you're sitting there and there's a ball and a runner and play and sounds and slide and dirt and everything's happening. And you're like, holy shit, where did this all come from? Who's been there? Your hands up, you've either never worked or you're lying. Okay? Yeah, you've been there. It sucks. Usually when a play blows up on you, you're too close to it. Okay, so you don't have perspective. So the method that I teach for taking your plays at first gets you further away. Okay? It will open everything up. So, you get a ground ball. You run directly to the back corner of second base. Okay? What's the verb in that sentence? Run. Nah, you didn't know it was an English class, did you? Verbs are action words. Okay? We run directly, full speed. I think, what did I tell people? Run 90 miles an hour, not like you're 90 years old. Okay, if you are 90 years old, Frank, it's okay. Alright? But go 90 miles an hour, alright? As fast as you can. You start to break down and stop when the fielder fields the ball. Alright? So you got your fielder. He's going to run towards the ball. So you run towards the where? What part of second base? Back corner of second base, okay? So the fielder runs, you run. The fielder breaks down and starts to field it, you break down, okay? And then you set your feet, so your feet are square to first. But what do I need to be watching? The ball. So my head's over here, but my feet are square to first. Now when he throws the ball, I let the ball take me to the plate. Okay? You can get set like this. You can get set like this. Okay? Straight up. I like to be straight up because it allows me to adjust. Okay? If you are one of these guys, you can only get like this when you know you have what kind of throw? A good throw. Or a true throw. I want to talk like an umpire. A true throw. So you read a true throw, now you can go like this. Okay? Because if it's not a true throw, what do you need to do? Adjust. You want to step this way, step this way. One day we'll talk about how to adjust. Yep. Oh, itchy. Okay? So, balls hit, our first read. We read the what? Ball. We read that the ball is on the ground, so we start to do what? We start to run. Where do we start to run? Back corner of second base. Okay? We stop when the fielder is fielding the ball. We square ourselves at first. And we got to be completely set for the play. Everybody turn around to the back corner of the room. You see the glowing red light. The glowing red light is attached to a camera. And the camera is attached to a Tripod. Why do I have the camera attached to the tripod? To hold it steady so that the picture is clear, right? If we had somebody videotaping this thing, right, like this, would our video be very clear? No. So if we're doing this, when a play happens, is our view going to be very clear? No. And if our view isn't clear, do we have a chance in hell of getting the play right? Nope. Okay? So completely set for the play. Questions? Ground balls? Nobody on?
I go.
Yep.
After you've seen the release, where do your eyes go?
Follow the ball.
The whole way.
Yep.
That's different than what has been talked for a while about getting your eyes out of the play.
Ball's going to take you to play.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So that you're not getting a big picture, you know, when it all happens at once.
Because if you go, okay, you let go of it, bang. When did the ball get there? I'm going to lose the ball. We always got to know where the ball is. Okay? So, ball takes us to the play. You'll be amazed. If you're set and you're letting the ball take you to the play, you'll be amazed at how much quicker you'll realize, hey, that throw's not a good throw, so I need to be elsewhere. And you'll also be amazed at how many more plays will be clearer at first. Yep.
I apologize, but it seems like a contradiction when you're saying be completely set, but keep your eyes on the ball the entire time.
Yep. Keep your body set, and then I'm still set.
Even though your head's moving with the ball.
Well, when my play happens, bang, I'm set. Okay.
I think what you've got too, we're probably at a little bit deeper of an angle, a little bit farther away, so our point of vision is a lot different than when we were getting out at 90 degrees.
Exactly.
To the corner of the base. So I understand what you're saying.
Or even worse than the 90-degree thing, the school of thought where it was take 2 steps off the line.
Yeah.
2 steps off the line. Well, I'm really tight to this base. Okay. When I get further away, my cone of vision opens way up. So when you're here, you're going to be able to take the play in as a whole.
Yeah, I saw that coming out there last time.
That's because you were there. You were at the FCC getting the reps. You learned something new.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff. Yep.
Probably falls under the react part of it, but say it's a hot one bouncer to the second baseman. You don't want to run towards second base and get yourself in the line to throw it.
That is something we're going to talk about, which is called pressure. Okay? When you have the second baseman here coming towards you, that's the topic for Monday's class. Okay? Questions about this? Good. All right, base hits. Oh, hang on. Video. Here we go. Let's watch our first base umpire. Okay? Now, real quick, if I do now, that'd be awesome. Schwarber, you got that figured out? Your son went to RIT, you should be able to do this.
Yeah, I paid for it.
All right. So for our instance here, let's look at our situation with our pre-pitch stuff, right? What do we got for a situation? Runner on third, okay? Now, Major League Baseball, 4-man crew. For our purposes, we're just going to ignore the fact that there's a runner on third, okay? Because they've got an umpire in the A position, just like we are with nobody on. All right? So we're ignoring the fact that there's a runner on third. Let's look at our umpire. His feet are what? His feet are set. His head is squared up. Does he have a great tripod? 1, 2. Nope, I call it a tripod. 1, 2, 3. His hands are bracing his upper body, so that's a third support. Okay? He's set, locked in. He is watching the base. Nick, enough with the third leg. He's watching the base and he is listening for the ball to hit the glove. All right? So we've got ball and glove, right? Is the runner on the base? No. Ball and glove, runner and base. So this guy is? Okay? So here's the second part. Watch the umpire's head. Watch the umpire's head. It's going to get cut off, but watch it as good as you can. Okay? He went from A to B. So he's here, he's watching the foot, and then he glances up. What does he glance up to make sure the first base umpire has done? Caught the ball. Okay? And there's two pieces to a catch: firm and secure possession, voluntary release. Did he firmly secure that ball? No. Nope. So he is what? Safe. How fast do you have to make this call?
Not very.
Not fast at all. You got all the time in the world. Okay? Watch him make the call. Watch how slow this is. Look how slow that is. Okay? Let it develop. If he was fast, what would he probably have called this guy? Out. Now, here we got. And that's the problem. Okay? So, you go down, up. Make sure you pop it. Okay? Now, let's talk about where. I'm going to get you in 1 second. Let's talk about where he is. Okay? Do you think he followed what I was just teaching about running to second base? No. Probably not. He's closer than I would want us to be. Okay? Now, is he wrong? No. Why is he wrong? Not wrong? It's right there. Okay? And it's right there. That's why he's not wrong. He can do that. When we have this, we can do that. I'm not talking about one that you bought on eBay. Okay? We want to start getting some more distance. It'd be nice to be around here. Okay? Now to let our play open up. Yeah?
That was my question.
Okay. Anything else? Alright, so with a runner on first, what am I thinking? What are my likely plays? Nobody on. What are my likely plays with nobody on? What am I thinking? Ground ball. Base hit. Trouble. Okay? The ball's hit on the ground. What do I do? Pause. Great answer. Give this man $1. Pause. Read. What do we read? The ball is on the ground to the shortstop. What do we do? Run to the back of second base. When do I stop? When the shortstop fields it. What do I do after he fields it? Square up my what? Feet. What are your eyes? On the ball. What do I do then? Follow the ball. Let the ball take you to the play. And then make sure that you are completely and make one call. Yeah. Okay? As a plate umpire, we get this ground ball. Okay, ball's hit. What do? We pause, we read, and we react. As a plate umpire. We pause. You see the ball's hit on the ground. If we track the ball in properly, we'll track the ball out. Okay? Ball's hit on the ground. My reaction is to run up this foul line. On a properly marked baseball field, there is a line 45 feet from home plate. It's called the 45-foot line. Nobody's going to laugh at that, right? Okay? That's where you want to be. That's your target. And then you need to be set for your play. What are you umpiring? What are you umpiring? Who says you're umpiring full foot? You owe $1. What are you umpiring as a plate umpire? Interference. 3-foot lane, runner's lane interference. That's what we're there for. In a nightmare scenario where our base umpire doesn't get a pulled foot and then gets an argument and then asks for help, then you can give your 2 cents. That's the topic for Monday. Okay. Any other questions? Great. Base hits. Nobody on base. All right. So this is one where it's kind of like a line drive. It's cleanly hit into the outfield. All right. Clean hit into the outfield. Or it looks like a ground ball and we get a build up here. Right? Pivot. How do you pivot? That's a topic for the field house. Okay? But you keep your head on a swivel. Your ball, your eyes are going to be looking predominantly at what? Looking at the ball. And occasionally you're going to glance at the runner. Good. Who said glance at the runner? Alright? You're going to get into this area, which is called the working area. It's called the working area because this is where we do all of our work. Alright? We do our work in the working area, right in here. If we get to here, if that base hit, now the outfielder stumbles and it turns into a double, we can get where we need to be. All of a sudden the runner stumbles, and we now have to play back into first, we can get where we need to be. Okay? We need to stay ahead of our runner. How's the only way we make sure we're ahead of the runner? Is if we're occasionally glancing out. Okay? We want to get in that working area. Now the ball really scoots by, and it's going to turn into a triple. We can get where we need to be. Okay? So stay in that working area. I left out the little fancy part where you flip, where you do your pivot, because I didn't know where the little thing to go like this one. Okay? Plate umpire, your responsibility is to get out here in the direction of the ball. So if the ball's hit over here, plate umpire, you run this way. Okay? If the ball's hit over here, plate umpire, you run this way. Why do we do that? We got to come out hard. We come out hard because it gives our base umpire confidence to go out when he needs to. So if my plate umpire is going hard, even on base hits, now it gives my base umpire confidence that if he goes out, base umpire or plate umpire is going to take care of what he needs to take care of. Also, in the whole trip and fall scenario, if we come out hard, what can we do as a plate umpire? What? Go help and go call the play. Okay, call the play first and then call for help later. Okay? Any questions about that? How far should we get as a plate umpire? Distance, put a number on it. How many feet from home plate? 60. I like 60. It's a little bit less, maybe 50. Okay? Somewhere around the nerd circle. Okay? Challenge yourself. Alright. Any questions? Fly ball coverage. Who has the catches and no catches with nobody on? Plate umpire, raise your hand if you think it's a plate umpire. Nobody on, fly ball. Then, plate umpire, raise your hand. Base umpire? Oh, I'm hearing where's the ball hit? But I heard one person ask the right question.
Can of corn.
Was it a can of corn? What's a can of corn? Don't tell me a can of corn.
Can of corn is a fly ball that they're under and they have plenty of time to
Exactly.
set themselves.
Okay? Very good. Can of corn, if the outfielder's gonna catch the ball with no real effort. Okay, to get to it. If it's a can of corn, it doesn't matter where it is, the plate umpire's gonna take it. If it is a trouble ball, and it's to this side, the base umpire will take it. But only if it's what kind of ball? Trouble ball. Okay? If it's a can of corn over here, who takes it? Plate umpire. Who decides? Who's the quarterback on all of these? Base umpire is the quarterback. Because the base umpire is the one who's going to pause, read, and react. So you pause, read, react. If you read trouble, you go. Then you get as close as you can while being set for your play. If you read no trouble, what do you do?
Better get in and get the
Get in, yeah, it's just like a base hit. If you read no trouble, who has the catch? Plate umpire. Plate umpire, how are you going to tell if it was a trouble ball? What do you read to know if it was a trouble ball? Who says the ball? Who says your partner? Yeah. So for both the plate and the base umpire, when you have that fly ball to this side of the field, it's easy, right? Fly ball's over here, who's got it? Plate umpire. What if it's a diving catch, he's going to roll over 6 times to get it? Tough shit, dude. Better run. Okay? Over here, it becomes a little more dicey, right? And that's where we got to get our pause, read, react. Biggest area of focus this year for everyone in the room is getting better at pause, read, react. Okay? Pause, read, react. First step is to pause. There for a reason. What if our base umpire reads trouble but is wrong?
Get your ass out there.
Who has it?
He goes
Who
out.
has the catch?
He goes out. He goes out.
He goes out, he's got it, right? So what's the plate umpire got to do? He's got everybody else, okay? And then after the game, base umpire, you owe your plate umpire a nice cold beverage. But we can't say it here anymore because we got like a 60-year-old in the back. So he can't have Okay? All right? So it's really, really important as a base umpire, really important that we get these right. Our plate guy is dealing with enough. He's got enough to do. We don't want him covering the bases on a can of corn. Okay? So again, all right, so we get a fly ball over here, right? We get a fly ball over here. Who's got it? Plate umpire. So what do you got to do as soon as that ball is hit? You pause. You read that the ball is a fly ball to the left. Okay? So your reaction is to what? Lost ass. See where my lines are? Get to the dirt circle. Okay? Because for every time you're out here on a can of corn, now you get one that's a tough one. Okay? You're where you need to be to see it. Where you're actually semi-believable. Okay? Even from here, you're on a diving catch, trap scenario, coming in, even worse. The guy's coming in and dives, right? Yeah, it sucks.
The worst one's the one where you hit the guy laying out going away from you.
That one sucks too. Yep. That one sucks too. But coming in is almost as bad because you can't see a trap. Okay? So get out as far as you can. But also be set for your play. Any other questions? Yep. Base umpire goes out. The base umpire will go out on what type of ball? Trouble ball. That is hit to what part of the field? Right side of the field, as long as you're doing it correctly. Okay? My base umpire goes out. My plate umpire has everything else. Okay? Now, inevitably, somebody says, no, but the base umpire should circle back and get the plate to plate. Unless you run like Michael Phelps swims or ingests other products. You're not going to get there. Okay? So in all reality, plate umpire, you've got it all the way around, unless you get called off.
So
All the games I've ever done, I've called off my partner once.
So if you can get there, get there.
If you can get there, get there. Do we try to get there? Hell yeah. Are we going to get there? Probably not. Yep.
You got a trouble ball to right center field.
Yep.
Base umpire takes an angle towards the trouble ball, but he ends up on the dirt, right in that grass dirt area,
Sure.
right there, right around there where your light is.
Yep.
Ball doesn't get caught,
Yep.
but the runner goes into second.
Yep.
Now you're at an angle from second where you normally
You are
would.
no longer involved in the play.
That's the plate umpire's
Yep.
call.
So you take